our next session, and this is actually one of 5 special sessions, masterclasses, one masterclass each day, and that's in collaboration with our partner on this, the University of York City College in the UK. So a professor will be sharing their insights, their perspectives, and it's a kind of combination of not just science and theory, but really sort of bringing those two things together with the practical side, because that's what it's all about, really helping you make the decisions, but also make those practical decisions as well and take action also. So our next speaker now, creating a future-ready leadership pipeline, a strategic HRM approach. We have Dr. Giovanni Serafini. Dr. Giovanni, are you coming through? I can feel you are. I can see you. I'm sure it is you. It could only be you. Well, it could not only be you, it could be somebody else. I think we can hear you.
Hello, everybody. It's a pleasure and honor to be part of this amazing event. Thank you very much for having me.
Fantastic. Are you in York right now?
Sorry?
Are you in York right?
Yes. Yes. Do you see the beautiful background?
I see a blue background, but yeah, that could be absolutely anywhere. It could be York, but if you say it's York, we believe you it's York, right? Absolutely. Remember, at the end of this session, those of you that are listening, again, you're curious, you'd like to ask a question, you'd like some clarity on something, you'd like to challenge Dr. Giovanni on something as well, pop it in the chat, and at the end of this, a few minutes for question exchange. Giovanni, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So welcome everybody to this presentation, to this masterclass. I don't know, can I please have a confirmation if you can see nice? Otherwise, I may eliminate the virtual background just in case it is creating some sort of confusion. So maybe if I switch to this background, because I see some sort of perturbation in the image. Just allow me to switch. Okay, can you see me now?
Yes, we can see you. Yeah, please feel free to proceed.
Okay, thank you very much. So now I've learned, it's just that I have this image which is blurring. Somehow it was not in the rehearsal. Anyway, can you see me now? Now okay?
Yeah, we can see you okay, just fine. Yeah, please feel free to proceed.
Okay, thank you very much. So let me share my screen. Thank you very much. Okay, so here we are. So can you please confirm me that you see my slide share fine?
Yeah, yes.
Thank you very much. So welcome to this masterclass that is about creating a future-ready leadership pipeline and a strategic HRM approach. It's really a pleasure and honor to be part of this event, this HR Week, which kicks off today, and it is about total shift. So let's see what also total shift this masterclass is going to present you in relation to this very burning topic. So let me first introduce you the issue here. Basically, we are going to be focusing on future-ready leadership in particular. And what we aim here is to illustrate and unpack the notion of pipeline and what basically HRM can do in order to sustain this effort. So we talk about a strategic effort by the whole organization, certainly having HRM being the owner of the whole process. But as we will later on see, HRM is not by itself. It requires the collaboration also of other players in the organization. So let's put things into perspective and understand what we mean with leadership pipeline. According to Gonger and Fulmer, it's an organization's procedure for building and maintaining their leadership succession bench. All right, so what do we mean here? We want to ensure that there is an ongoing flow of human resources that have the potential to attain the specific leadership role. And it's important to maintain this pipeline, this internal system, and if you wish, situation, in order to be able to systematically ensure that we have the leaders in place. So it is a systematic process that involves employee development for sure. It's about evaluating also employees and their performance. That's why we talk about evaluation. We talk about training action in particular, and of course, following through the progress of employees in organization. It's about also ensuring a promotion. So all in all, we want to see pipelines as, especially in terms of leadership, because they sustain the focus of organizations towards their future. So that's exactly what we want, and certainly we all agree on these fundamentals. However, there is a problem, and the problem is has been highlighted by Bersin and others in 2016. Basically, organizations are failing to deliver leaders in terms of growth. This is their efforts is particularly disappointing, despite considering, first of all, the fact that we have amazing effort by learning and development professionals. Nobody can really deny the competence and efforts in theory by these learning and development professionals. So we have out there the services to indeed support organizations in the learning development task. That's why we talk about a multi-billion leadership development industry, which is really being growing lately. And on the back of it, we have 70 years of leadership research. So the problem here, as highlighted by Bersin, which it's basically identified in their work back in 2016, and it's actually based on surveys and interviews with more than 7,000 business and HR leaders from 130 countries. So we talk about a very, very authoritative sample based on which they conclude what? They conclude that actually only 60% of leaders in the sample organizations show commercial acumen and business judgment. We see also that 48% appear to be driving change innovation. So the question is, what are the other 52% really doing? What is their focus in this perspective? And also, very importantly, we have that just 44% build talent for competitive advantage. So we are looking at some statistics which are particularly telling about the challenge which actually points us towards maybe realizing that we have some type of toxicity in terms of leadership. What do we mean that toxicity? We basically refer to a situation whereby leadership is counterproductive. It is not really delivering what it is supposed to deliver. In other words, the leaders really mess up in terms of their priorities. They put their needs before those of the organization, exactly because of their lack of the big picture, if you wish. Also, there is concern about short-term results and micromanagement, and this is actually resulting by the fact that, as we've seen before, there is limited commercial acumen as well as business judgment. So they indeed focus on priorities which are just short-term, and they macromanage. And exactly because they do not have, a focus towards building talent for a competitive advantage, they don't contribute towards the growth of leadership in organizations. Then there also lack of focus on innovation leads them to be affected by insecurity, and because the insecurity, some may actually become arrogant and, most importantly, inflexible. And the question is, nowadays, can we actually allow organizations to have such major share of the leadership representatives actually displaying such toxic elements in their leadership effort. So this is the big question that Mercy and others brought forwards to us in order to really question really what we are doing in developing our leadership pipeline, especially as nowadays the focus is about future-ready leadership, as we're going to be looking at it in a little while. So the key topics of this masterclass encompass, first of all, the reasons for investing leadership development. So let's really clear our perspective and see why we have to keep on investing anyway in developing our leaders. However, we need also to mature and clear understanding as to what are the causes for leadership training failure. Why do we fail so much in getting the expected return on investment in training action? Then, in order to focus really about what is that training is expected to deliver in the future, we'll be reviewing exactly what are the traits that we expect from future-ready leaders. So not only what to expect from leaders in terms of their development, but also specifically to be able to be future-ready. Also, we'll be spend a few moments in addressing what do we mean with future-ready organizations requiring future-ready leadership. And then, having defined these elements, we'll then move on into identifying the strategic HRM approach to create and also foster, nurture, and maintain a future-ready pipeline. So when we talk about leaders, let's have a look at what we mean with leaders, because being a leader means having an entrepreneurial vision and the capacity to think about the forces that affect the destiny of the organization. So we talk about a special set of capabilities that relate to the big picture and also the capacity to also envision the destiny of the organization. So the leader has to be able to see the journey, where the company is aiming at, and what are the implications for the organization moving forward. And this notion has been brought to our attention since the 90s by the famous book by Warren Bennis. So what do we need nowadays in terms of leaders? We want to have inspired leaders to ensure thriving organizations, especially as we look at the backdrop that we are actually talking about here. We are in a so-called post-COVID, post-pandemic era, but it's still something to be clarified, because we are still suffering the impact of this 2-year COVID-19 pandemic. But also we have the major challenge of the war in Ukraine, plus the geopolitics that are playing, really to creating such a confusing, such a ambiguous, and most importantly, unknown, if you wish, world expecting us. So certainly in such a complicated, such a complex, and such a ambiguous reality and future expecting us, we need inspired leaders. So those leaders need to do the right thing. That's exactly what we want, not just like managers that do things right. We want to have the exact capacity of looking at the big picture and actually commit to the vision that leaders have in a long-term perspective. So here we talk about commitment. We talk about focus in attaining goals, and by clarifying what is expected of organizations, leaders have to define what is the way towards the goals attainment, which is what will be the path to follow towards, first of all, securing organizational survival, and then, of course, improving But as we could see from the recent, pandemic, certainly first and foremost has been for many businesses securing a survival and then improvement. So that is the assumption. That's all we agree upon. However, again, efforts to grow and develop leaders are worryingly unsuccessful. And here I'm going to focus to another research by Bear and others, whereby they identified that companies spend enormous amount of money on employee training and education. That's to give an idea to you. We talk about $160 billion in the United States in 2015 only, and globally the amount is at a staggering $356 billion globally. Yet there is a disappointing return on training investment, mostly learning phase to improve organizational performance. Why so? Guess what is really happening is that despite attendance to training, employees who underwent the training fast fall back to their old ways of doing things. That's exactly what we need to understand as HR professionals, practitioners, academics, maybe people that really care about the human capital in organizations, is that we have to make progress, and that progress has to stick. That's exactly the challenge here. So organizations keep on investing on leadership because they realize that it's important to be able to face this tremendously challenging context we're living in, which is basically unknown of unknowns. We talk about the most ambiguous setting we could ever be in, and therefore they do realize that leadership is perceived as a key determinant for organizations in order to attain a secure competitive advantage. Yet we see in the previous slide how we are not able to make sure that leadership development and training sticks with the workforce and basically turns into a set behavior in a new paradigm shift. So there is this, I want to have a leadership development, I want to be able to be competitive, and I need a leadership, yet I am totally, unsuccessful in many respects in terms of exactly return on investment. But organizations do need leaders because they expect boosting of financial performance, because leaders are able to increase efficiencies, care for new generation of revenue streams, and because they understand that customer is everything, they would renew a customer service focus. Plus, organizations do understand that developing leaders is crucial towards talent attraction as well as retention, because when the leadership is compelling and inspiring, this functions as a magnet. People out there in the market expect to join organizations and be part of the success story. So, in other words, this development of leadership is also helping towards counteracting the gaps that any employee turnover may actually cause to the organization. So that's why there is also a benefit in theory. Also, very importantly, leadership is crucial in order to maintain and develop the instrumental organizational culture, the culture, in other words, that is decisive towards the attainment of the business strategy. So we need someone to demonstrate, to cultivate, to inspire the business, the right behaviors, which means organizational culture has to be maintained, has to be upheld by leaders. And of course, we want leaders in order to be able to secure agility of organization managing change, exactly because we are living in such a highly ambiguous context. So we fail, therefore, to develop our people exactly because people are not that undertake training most of the time, in many respects, and seen by the statistics, and I have some more statistics to really provide some solid grounding to my overall argumentation, is that we fail to motivate employees to really apply what they learned in leadership development programs. Later, and Power 2016 have underlined that. So we talk about the notion of transfer problem, as Michalak in 1981 in his seminar work has been underlining, because training is about transfer of training content, which means basically I educate someone in the training room or in a setting, or expose them in a specific experience. Well, that learning has to be transferred into the workplace. So that's the transfer of training content. However, there is a transfer problem, which means there's something blocking this transfer. And we have that only 62% of training participants apply something, not everything, something they have learned in a training to the workplace. So it's this disappointing statistic as per the research by Sachs and Belcourt in 2006. Casaune and others also identified the transfer of training content occurs only in 10% of the case. So basically 1 in 10 trainees indeed are able to transfer the training content to the workplace. I honestly, considering what we have been doing in terms of leadership research, I am particularly worried about these numbers. And the root causes can be identified at 3 different levels. These levels are at the participant level, the training program itself, but also the work environment, because starting from the participant standpoint, challenges appear at the level of employee motivation in terms of direction, duration, and intensity of learning, willingness to change behavior, self-efficacy, cognitive ability, perceived utility of training, and therefore we have possibly challenges at the level of the trainee. Now, we may have also challenges at the level of the training program itself, in terms of the training environment, whether it is realistic, in terms of transfer design. It's important, therefore, to consider the extent to which training has been designed and delivered to give trainees the ability to transfer learning to the job, and training instructions match job requirements. So we have to also consider this variable in the transfer of training, and the possible problem these can really enact. And another category of challenges may be coming from the work environment. And here we are basically hinting to the specific situation and circumstances that surround the trainee. What do we mean by that? We mean aspects that while they are not connected to the training experience directly, they do critically impact the training transfer. And here we can indeed highlight the following: social support, very important. The opportunity to apply the training content to the workplace, and also the consequences experienced when transferring training content. So here, therefore, we are looking at, as per Wallace and others in 2021, in their most recent article, a very detailed, very richly researched, multifaceted academic article. They define that social support is crucial towards high motivation to transfer, and consequently for training transfer. So support, what does it mean? Support by the supervisor, colleagues, subordinates. All right. And out of these 3 I just listed here, the supervisor support is the most important. All right, because the supervisor had, as HR research has been time and again demonstrating, the supervisor's influence on the job satisfaction, motivation of employees is of critical importance. Is the number 1 reason why people stay at work or leave their job. The immediate supervisor. So the supervisor support is crucial at the 4 different levels: at the level of mentoring, coaching, social support, as well as task support. So these are the key aspects that we have to consider when we are looking at the obstacles to transfer of training. So future-ready leadership and organizations come hand in hand because future leadership is needed to navigate successfully the highly ambiguous future. So this future leadership is needed by future-ready organizations in order to be able to scale up capabilities relevant to future competition and also make regular shifts in its know-how to stay ahead of the competition. So here we are talking about what we aim in terms of future-ready leadership and why that's important for organizations. Because future-ready organizations need to feature a business model that addresses continuously the evolving needs, but also a culture that nurtures employee capability of working, innovating, continuously learning, as well as leading. So the question is, what do organizations do actually expect from future-ready leaders? First of all, future-ready leaders operate in a severely disrupted marketplace because of the challenges listed here. That's why we need to have leaders who have a vision, a growth and global mindset, innovation, adaptation, as highlighted especially by Hunsaker in 2020, because the consideration that we have to need to keep in mind in terms to understand also the context in which we are operating, we have that the average age of companies in the Standard & Poor's 500 has fallen from 61 in 1958 to less than 20 years today. So you see, therefore, that the future-ready leaders are of crucial need in order to be able to support the need for innovation and adaptation to change. We expect future leaders to be strategically savvy, to be able to connect innovation with strategy. And of course, we need also from leaders nimbleness and comfort in taking decisions with limited information available, which is exactly the imperative nowadays due to the context, which is so ambiguous, and it's not expected, of course, to slow down in terms of complexity. Also, we want leaders to be able to support the right culture. And we say right culture, according to Aldrich, we talk about the culture which connects internal values and behaviors with the value they create for external stakeholders, which are the customers, investors, as well as communities. And also, what do we expect? You see, organizations expect a lot from leaders. We also expect fluency with data and technology in order to competently face disruptive forces. So, of course, added to this, we need to have sound communication skills, empathy, leadership by example, ability to take tough decisions. Okay, so this is in order to have an understanding about what we expect from future-ready leadership. Now, let's have a look now at what HR shall do in order to support and nurture a pipeline of future-ready leadership. Typically, leadership development, which means training focused on skills required for success leadership roles, is separated by succession planning. All right, so this is the creation and implementation of long-term plans that address changes in top leadership roles. All right, so this distinction has to stop. We have really to make a change. And here is actually, because we talk about total shift week, all right, the shift that we are talking about here is making sure that we create internal leadership pipelines that span from the entry-level employee to the executive level. All right, as Griffin and others in 2019 have highlighted, it's important to have this continuity because we want to develop people organically from within the organization. That's exactly the top priority, as we're going to be highlighting in a little while. So as we see in organizations, and in order to be able to see the context, the internal context of the organization, well, we have to see that hierarchy no longer defines how work gets done. People work in cross-functional teams, they work in projects, and they have influence that can be very remarkable regardless of levels. All right. So what do we need nowadays is that leadership has to be taught by doing. We have to ensure the support through mentoring, coaching. We have to provide apprenticeships, exposure externally and internally to the reality of the business. And of course, what we do in education, reflective learning, which means making sure that leadership trainees are actually reflecting on the way they are learning about their experiences, what are the lessons they learn as they are exposed to different situations. So basically, we have to let people, throw in the sea, if you wish, and let them swim. That's basically what we want to develop. That is actually how we want to really develop leadership capabilities. And of course, we have to change roles and responsibilities. HRM has to secure that has to be support, an ongoing feedback system on their performance. And of course, as people in the leadership development programs do perform, we need to have to think also about a reward system in terms of attaining performance goals, new responsibilities, job title, and incentives. And here we can be very, very creative, and here exactly where we want HR to be particularly forthcoming. Also, organizations, however, have to really upgrade the effectiveness of their own HR team. The HR team, oftentimes in organizations, are really depressed in their role, in their function. We need to educate, develop, align, and give self-confidence to the HR teams, because they need to be partners with senior leaders, with coach managers, as well as executives, and they have to be credible. Oftentimes we see there's a credibility issues with the HR team. Well, they have to have a deep understanding of the business. Therefore, when we talk about HRM approach, we talk about organizations giving the right emphasis of to the HR function. And also, organizations need to focus on investing in corporate learning and in learning technology. In order to also this technology allow to facilitate hiring procedures, facilitate the job rotation, enrichment, as well expansion, employee communications, inclusion and belonging, as well as well-being and mental health. So which means all those very important priorities to be supported by also HR technology. And that is something that we need to provide, we need to boost, we need to invest, in other words. And exactly because we have been seeing before the issue of vision, of commitment, of long-term view, organizations have to focus on the internal organic growth. Yes, recruitment is important, but up to a point. We have to look at the development, mobility, retention, and strategic job design that support organic growth. And that is exactly how we create solid roots in the organization to withstand the challenges of the tough environment we are all in. We talk about strategic skills development, we talk about corporate purpose and strategy, definition of leadership goals. All right. And therefore, we are having that the responsibility of HR, yes, is very, very important. Certainly, we have a definite importance in terms of HR, because they are primary owner of both succession planning and leadership development. All right. However, let's not forget to develop a healthy and sustainable pipeline of leaders. We need both processes of developing a healthy and sustainable pipeline leaders. We need multiple owners. We need to have commitment at the very, very top. That means the CEO. We need the executive team. We need the employees at all levels to contribute to this. So you see, therefore, how this links with the organizational culture we mentioned before. We need to have everybody chipping in and contributing to this commitment. So therefore, HR cannot be seen by themselves. The HR team must not just be seen by itself, but it has to be supported in their overall effort. Certainly, however, HR at the corporate level is there to support through standards, tools, and processes. And the function of HR is there to ensure the alignment of local units to the rules and customization as needed. All right, so we see therefore that it is really a total effort of the organization towards securing this future-ready leadership pipeline to the total benefits of the future-ready organization. So in conclusion, we have seen the importance of investing in leadership development for sure. We have stepped back and looked at the worrying, otherwise reality of leadership training failure. We then cast a clear perspective as to what are the characteristics that future-ready leadership has to have, and we identified what HRM has got to do in order to create and nurture a future-ready leadership pipeline. But as we've seen, they are not by themselves in this effort. In closing, let me just highlight this very important conclusion by Derry and others about equipping and empowering the future-ready workforce. Well, according to their research, companies with a future-ready workforce outperform their competitors in terms of the fact that they deliver 19 percentage points higher revenue growth and 15% points higher net margin compared to their industry average. So here, therefore, you understand that developing a future-ready workforce pays off. So it's something that leads to the full system, organizational system, this focus. Think about how important it is to have a future-ready workforce towards having confidence in solving complex problems, see data analytics, robotics, AI, and other digital technologies. And also, they have to be skilled to perform effectively in a digital environment. All right, so all this requires future-ready leadership. So you see, we have the statistics highlighting how future-ready workforce is beneficial to organization. Well, we have in businesses, in organizations overall, to secure future-ready leadership to facilitate the expression of these talents, to be liberating these talents, that because we need everyone's contribution to face the extremely challenging context we are living in. So before closing, let me just run through the references that have supported my presentation to you, my masterclass to you. With this, I'm now open to take questions from the audience. So,
Giovanni, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Wonderful. We will jump onto a quick question. Not much time indeed, but let's just go to one of these questions. A lot of companies are switching to digital learning. Is that one of the reasons they fail to have good ROI? And is leadership something that can be learned online? Good question. Tell us. What do you think?
All right. Well, it's very interesting to say leadership can be learned online. Certainly, online has done wonders. I mean, we can really transfer a lot of content online. The question is, do we trust the content? Do we trust our own organizations? So it's not just the content is there. People can have a fantastic exposure to content. The issue is what is the trust level within the organization? And most importantly, the content I'm exposed online, can I also apply in real terms? So yes, it can be done. However, trust is something that enables people to really embrace the content they are exposed to. So digital learning is something that combines the educational effort. Certainly, however, it would be nice to combine it with real life exchanges as well. So we can have a combination, approach that is really creating a lot of, much more excitement. But again, people understand each other's words very well. The question is that if trust is very low, the content does not really stick around. Next, please.
Yeah, so really, it's really about building up that trust element any way possible to get closer to to the leadership
Exactly,
style
and
of
also
leadership.
let's not forget this. As the say goes, you fix the roof when the sun is shining, isn't it? So organizations need to do their homework in the good times, in the bad times. They have to really display sound, basic leadership competence, and most importantly, develop a trustworthy work environment where everybody feel as one. And then when there is a challenge of COVID and so on and so forth, as the MIT through Glassdoor have done a fantastic research job in 2019-20, it's available online, where actually they have demonstrated that organizations that have done their homework before, then during the COVID, they have been keep on stressing employees the importance of work together. They have fostered open communication. They created a safe work environment, psychologically safe, where people would share their challenges, would open up without fear of retortion, of retribution, if they were kind of perceived to be criticized in the organization. So all this has allowed organizations really to deliver amazing performance even during COVID. This research is openly available online.
I'm going to have to, unfortunately, again, it seems like, again, many of our sessions today already, we have so much to share, so much, we could go on all day. I mean, we've got a week naturally, but unfortunately, we only have until now with you right now, Dr. Giovanni Serafini. Thank you so much, and hopefully see you in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure, and really all the very best for this beautiful event. Thank you very much, everybody.
Goodbye.
All the best. Thank you.